Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 Civics and Citizenship lesson, and today we're going to be talking about separation of powers. So what do you know about the government in your native country? How is it structured? Do you have a president, a king or a queen? Does one person have a lot of power? Or is there a system that divides the power so that one person or group doesn't have too much power? So the U.S. has three branches of government, and we're going to read the quote below. And what is Sandra Day O'Connor talking about? And first, I have a vocabulary word. Enormously is an adverb meaning a lot. It matters enormously to a successful democratic society like ours that we have three branches of government, each with some independence and some control over the other two. And that was Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. All right, so we have the three branches of government. So the executive branch is here. So that's the president, the vice president, and the cabinet, which is like the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Transportation. So secretaries of all these different departments. The judicial branch is here. So we have the Supreme Court and other federal courts. And the legislative branch is the Senate and the House of Representatives. And so we're going to talk about what powers that each branch has. So read some of the powers of the government and match the words in bold with their definitions. So here, follows the basic rules of a country's constitution or a set of laws. Constitutional, that would be number 6. When someone is chosen or named for a specific job or position. So that would be appointments. This branch confirms presidential appointments to key positions. The groups of people like the Army and Navy who protect a country and its citizens. That would be number 4. This branch has the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. A problem that needs to be solved using the federal or legal system. That would be number 5. This branch can resolve legal disputes. To say that a government official, like a president, did something wrong in their job. This would be number 3, to impeach. And a plan that shows how much money a person or organization has and how they will spend it. That would be number 1, budget. So in the United States, the president can veto laws that are passed by Congress. And so what do you think veto means, and why would a president use this power? Veto is basically to say no. And so if the president thought that the law was a bad law or that it went against the Constitution, the president could veto it and say no. And can you think of any examples in your own country where one branch of government can check the power of another branch? All right, so predict which power belongs to each branch of government. Is it the legislative, the executive, or the judicial? And we have some vocabulary words. Constitutional just means that it agrees with the Constitution. Confirm is agree to the truth of something that was said, and to declare is announce or say publicly. So the power to create and pass new laws, well, that would be the legislative. The power to decide if laws are constitutional, that's judicial. the power to confirm presidential appointments to key positions, that's the legislative, and the power to declare war is also legislative. A few more vocabulary words. Resolve means to find a solution to a problem. Represent, to act or speak for someone else. So the power to resolve legal disagreements between states, people, and government, that would be the judicial. The power to control the federal budget, that is legislative. The power to control the armed forces, that is executive. And the power to represent the U.S. to other countries is also executive. Right? Impeach is to charge a president with a crime, and to nominate is to select. So the power to impeach federal officials, that's legislative. The power to veto bills passed by Congress, that's executive. The power to nominate federal judges confirmed by the Senate, that's also executive. And the power to protect a person's rights and liberties by following the Constitution would be judicial. All right, we have some more vocabulary words. We're going to match the definitions with the words. So to speak or act on behalf of someone or a group of people, that would be number 6, to represent. To choose someone for a job, like a new judge or leader, that would be number 3, to nominate. To agree to make something official, that would be number 5, to confirm. To officially say something is number 4, to declare. To accuse a government official like the president of doing something wrong while in office, that would be number 2, impeach. To find a solution or fix a problem is number 7, resolve. And when someone in power like the president says no to a law that has been suggested by others, that's number 1, veto. All right, now we're going to talk about the third person singular. The legislative branch makes laws. So the third person singular is used to talk about things. So if the subject is I, that's first person. So either I am or am not, I do or do not, I have or have not, and then the regular form of the verb. You, we, and they are all third person. Well, you can be second person or third person. So we use are not, do not, have not plus the verb. And then third person singular, he, she, or it, we use is or is not, does or does not, has or has not, and the S form of the verb. So see if you can create a sentence about each branch of the government using the verbs provided. So just try that, see if you can remember what each branch does. All right, so now we're going to match the words to create a common phrase and then use the phrases to create sentences about each image. Okay, so we could say confirm an appointment. So that would be F. Declare a national holiday. Resolve a conflict. Nominate a candidate. Impeach the president. Veto a law. And represent a state. So I think we can find a solution. So you could say, I think we can resolve the problem. We chose Ken Sato to represent the party. We nominated Ken Sato to represent our party. How do you feel about the charge against you? How do you feel about the impeachment? May 8th will be a national holiday. May 8th was declared a national holiday. And I don't think this law is a good idea. I'm going to veto it. All right, we're going to read about the Senate and the House of Representatives and then answer the questions. We have a couple of vocabulary words. Constituent is a person who lives in a specific area and is represented by elected officials. And a treaty is a formal agreement or contract between two or more countries. The Senate and the House of Representatives are two parts of the United States Congress, which is the country's legislative branch. The Senate has 100 members, 2 from each state. Senators serve longer terms, 6 years each. The number of members in the House of Representatives depends on each state's population, with 435 representatives in total. Representatives have shorter terms, just 2 years each. Together, they make and pass laws, but they have different roles and responsibilities. Senators usually focus on bigger issues like treaties, while representatives often deal with more local concerns because they have more members and shorter terms, allowing them to stay closer to their constituents. So what are the two parts of the U.S. Congress mentioned in the text? Well, it's the Senate and the House of Representatives. How many members are there in the Senate? 100. And in the House of Representatives, currently there's 435. How long is the term of a U.S. Senator? 6 years. And of a U.S. Representatives, 2 years. What types of issues do senators focus on? Well, bigger issues like treaties. And why do representatives often deal with more local concerns? They have more members and shorter terms, so they can stay closer to their constituents. All right, now we're going to read about checks and balances and then answer the questions. In the United States, there is a system of checks and balances to ensure that no branch of government becomes too powerful. This means that each branch has some control over the others to make sure they are all doing their jobs fairly. For example, the legislative branch, Congress, can make laws, but the executive branch, the president, can veto a law if they think it's not a good idea. However, Congress can then vote to override the president's veto if most members agree. The judicial branch, the federal courts, can decide if a law is constitutional or not. If they say a law is not constitutional, it cannot be enforced, which is a check on both Congress and the president. The balance of power ensures that no one part of the government becomes too strong. It's an important part of American democracy. So what is the purpose of the system of checks and balances in the United States government? Well, it's to ensure that no one branch becomes too powerful. Give an example of how the executive branch can check the power of the legislative branch. So the president can veto a law if they think it's not a good idea. What can Congress do if the president vetoes a law? They can override the veto if a majority of the members agree. Which branch of government can decide if a law is constitutional or not? That's the judicial branch. And why is the balance of power between the branches of government important in American democracy? So it ensures that no one part of the government becomes too strong. So how a bill becomes a law. So do you know how a bill becomes a law? And we're going to fill in the blanks with the words from the boxes. So it starts with an idea for a law. The idea can come from citizens or lawmakers. Then a member of Congress writes down the idea in the form of a bill. Next, the bill goes to a committee, and the committee looks at it carefully. The House or the Senate discusses the bill. They debate its pros and cons. After the debate, there is a vote on the bill. If most of the lawmakers say yes, the bill moves to the other chamber, House or Senate, for more voting. If both chambers agree on the bill, it goes to the president. The president can sign the bill and make it a law or veto it. If the president signs it, the bill becomes a law. And now we're going to look at some questions from the American citizenship exam. So what are the three branches of the U.S. government? Well, that would be letter C, the legislative, executive, and judicial. Who is in charge of the executive branch of the government? That's the president. How many U.S. senators are there? 100. And what do we call the group of advisors to the president? The cabinet. All right, so again, just review each branch, the legislative, executive, and judicial, and think about why it's important to have the system of checks and balances. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share. And if you have any questions, please leave those for me in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.